After choosing empowerment over dread, I began searching for meaningful and effective solutions to put into practice in my own life. Progressive Hedonist is a podcast to share the ways we can take on climate change through food and joy. On days when this seems completely impossible, this podcast is a reminder that each of us can make an impact. I'm Dana Cowan. Join me in conversations with thought leaders like Alice Waters, Andrew Zimmern, Dr. Ayanna Elizabeth Johnson, and more. We can learn together what is possible. You can listen anywhere podcasts can be found and join the conversation on Instagram at progressive_hedonist.
You're listening to Heritage Radio Network.
Want to taste a flight of rare agave spirits at Rick Bayless's award-winning Bar Sotano? Or on La Barca Cantina, the storied taco boat touring New York's Hudson River? Or do you want to drink a special lager from the Maine Beer Company? Or how about coffee? Want to start your morning with a Mexican roast from the genius crew at Dark Matter? Well, you can do all those things and support Sacred in the process. Sacred is a not-for-profit that helps improve quality of life in the rural Mexican communities that make heritage agave spirits. We ask Mescalerics what problems they have, what solutions they imagine to resolve those problems, and what resources they need to enact those solutions. Then we go out and try to find those resources for them. All of those businesses I just mentioned, Bar Sotano, La Barca Cantina, Maine Beer Company, and Dark Matter Coffee, all of them have special offerings on right now that support Sacred. To learn more about these supportive, creative ventures, visit sacredagave.org/fun. That's sacredagave.org/fun, because real fun is also doing real good. Heritage Radio Network is proud to be sponsored by Hearst Ranch. The Hearst family has been raising cattle on the rich, sustainable, native grasslands of California's Central Coast for over 150 years. Piedra Blanca Rancho in San Simeon is the original Hearst Ranch, founded by George Hearst in 1865. And George's son was the famous publisher William Randolph Hearst. In addition to being known for building the iconic Hearst Castle, William was, like his father before him, an avid rancher. In his words, "I would rather spend a month at the ranch than any place in the world." Thanks to one of the largest land conservation easements in California history, a joint effort with the California Rangeland Trust, the American Land Conservancy, and the state of California, the working landscape at Hearst Ranch will be preserved forever. Learn more about Hearst Ranch at HearstRanch.com. I'm Lou Bank.
And I'm Linda Sullivan.
And this is Agave Road Trip, the critically acclaimed
award-winning
podcast that
helps Grindex bartenders
better understand agave spirits
and rural
Mexico.
Yeah, that was fun.
Okay, Linda. So, we've touched on the additive-free movement, additive-free tequila movement quite a bit.
We have. It's a big conversation in our world.
But I had an epiphany.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
Yeah. So I think I know how to solve the problem.
Oh, good. We're all about solution here. I'm bringing skepticism, but also open ears.
So first, let's start with, what exactly is the problem, right? So why does anyone care if there are additives in their tequila? I got a couple of quotes I want to share with you from Chris Maxwell. First one, Roy, can you drop it in there? The one about history and culture?
The market where the tequila industry wants to push these products rather than traditional distillates, celebrating the history, the culture of the land, the terroir, the production of what tequila is, as mezcal has done.
kind of a chippy chop there quote, but that was after I'd fed him 10 Cristalinos. So
Oh, well, then I think that's pretty put together opinion post 10 Cristalinos.
there you go.
Nice job, Chris.
Yeah, Cristalino. So, but I think in essence what he's saying there is, hey, there's this movement toward trying to go back to the culture, and I don't know. I guess it's
like
tequila.
a pendulum swing.
Yeah.
Right? They swung pretty far on the industrial side. Then mezcal kind of carved its own path, and now tequila's having a little swing back, is what he's saying.
Yeah, though, with mezcal at 3.5% of tequila, and a lot of that not, I don't know. Okay, Chris, let's just assume that I buy into that, right? Okay. So then the second thing that Chris spoke about was taste. Roy, can you run that one?
All right. Just the sweetness level is just intensifying. And the problem that I have with additives is that when you're in a blind tasting like this, it taints everything that you taste afterwards, because those chemicals sit on your palate. And if you have more of it, it just grows and grows and grows. You could probably put, a beautiful Tobala in the center of this, and it'll just get blown past.
Okay, that I could see. I think that makes me think of when I'm doing classes or tastings, I will take the authority to order the tasting just based on, I'm no scientist, but based on some of these ideas that Chris is saying about flavor and palate, right? I'm going to leave maybe if there's say there's a spicy kind of Amaro in the tasting. I'm going to leave that till the end so that we don't you've probably heard this phrase, blow your palate, so we don't really shock it with all kinds of wormwoody and spicy, maybe chile notes and then try to taste something really soft, like a Lillet, a fortified wine, or even a neat spirit.
Or Malort.
Malort's going to be at the end. Well, Malort doesn't usually get a spot in my tasting. Love you, Chicago, but it would be at the end. Yeah, because those aggressive flavors can kind of shock our palate. And we also can only taste so many different things before we're just sort of fatigued on flavor. So I think that's that feels to me like a fair point.
Okay. So accepting those points, right? You've got Grover and Scarlett, and apologies up front, Grover and Scarlett, I'm going to butcher your last name. Sanskrit Grin.
Salud.
Thank you. Of Tequila Matchmaker. They come along and they start doing this whole additive-free thing. So they start certifying as an independent lab these tequila brands and then listing them on Tequila Matchmaker.
Do they talk about why that, or maybe because I think you know them, do they talk about why they started that project? What their goal was?
Yeah, in essence, just they wanted transparency.
Okay.
Yeah, it's funny, when I went to a tasting that they hosted in Chicago, I think it was in 2023, might have been 2024. No, it must have been 2023. And it felt to me like their point was, hey, additives, they're not evil. I just want to know if they're in what I'm drinking.
Okay, that's kind of...
For reasons like you're talking about, or like Chris is talking about.
Yeah. I that's kind of what I thought. So it's not there to kind of, soften their position. They're not only additive free all the time, forget the rest. They're like, if there's an additive in there, I'd like for it to be on the label. So their labeling is at least taking one group from that world and saying, these ones will tell you for sure don't have additives because we tested them.
Right.
Okay.
And so they started that, listing it on Tequila Matchmaker. Then they created these stickers that the brands could add to their bottles. And then the CRT said, hey, stop using stickers. We're starting our own certification. And the CRT started their own certification, and then they shut it down within a month, is my understanding.
The CRT shut theirs down?
Their own, yeah. They shut Grover and Scarlett down. But
I remember
and
that.
then they shut, right? And then the next thing you know, their home, Scarlett and Grover's home, was raided by federal authorities, including, really oddly, the National anti-kidnapping coordinators from Jalisco's Attorney General's office. I know.
Is there more I should know about that? That doesn't feel like it's in the right category.
It felt to me like it was just salacious for salacious sake.
Ooh,
anyway.
Okay.
And then the brands that had been participating received letters, and this is just September 2024, so just, for us a few weeks ago. The brands participating received letters from the CRT outlining actions that they, the CRT, would take, including seizure of product if the wording additive-free was used in conjunction with the brand, even if that was on a third-party website that had nothing to do with the brand. Like, I happened to be in a liquor store and after this happened, and I'm looking at all of these stickers on the shelves that the liquor store itself had created saying additive-free.
Because they know their clientele and they think that would be important information that people would like and it would move sales. But how could the CRT can't govern what a liquor store put stickers on?
Well, they can't do anything to the liquor store, but their point was, this is what we'll do to you. And I think that's just basically saying to them, look, if some store does this in the middle of nowhere, we'll probably never even find out. But if we get a sense that you're coordinating this campaign, sort of sub rosa, right? Like, we're gonna get you.
Is this a control and money grab? Are they like, oh, hey, Grover and Scarlett, good idea. We would like to do that and collect the revenue.
That's all speculation. I have no idea. Like, that's speculation. I don't even want to speculate. But here is the solution. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. So there's this thing called the 1990 Nutrition Labeling and Education Act. You know when it happened?
I'm going to guess around 1990.
Yeah, it's correct. And so that changed, like there were laws in place before that, but that changed the specificity of the labels on the things that not only that we consume, but even like a lot of like the makeup that we wear. Well,
So this is not just food stuff. This is all things that come in contact with our bodies or maybe includes other. Okay.
Yeah.
This is the U.S.? 1990?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But, you import something into the USA, it has to conform to our regulations.
Right.
So my question is, why does this label not appear on alcohol? Because it doesn't appear on wine, doesn't appear on beer, doesn't appear on spirits. Why not?
Right. The 1990 thing is like the label on the cereal box that I used to read while I was eating breakfast, right?
God, that sounds like a very boring morning.
Aw, that was nerdy.
Yeah, that's fair. And, you even have to include anything that is below 1%. So you're supposed to put all of the ingredients on the label in order.
Right.
And
how much you use.
Yeah.
Right? The top one is 50%, the one that's the most. Yeah.
But then when you get to under 1%, it doesn't matter what order they're in.
Okay.
But you still have to include everything, even if it's less than 1%. And as we know,
that's what a lot of the additives are coming in at.
Well, they have to, because that's the regulation in Mexico is less than 1%. And so I just know that somebody's going to say, well, if it's less than 1%, they don't have to include it. And that is not accurate. If you go and look at the legislation, the NLEA, the Nutrition Labeling Education Act, you have to. So,
what's the reason that they don't do this for liquid? It's not just liquids, because kombucha has it on there.
Yeah, soda does.
It's only spirit, alcohol. It's only alcohol.
I've had people suggest to me that the reason is because the wine, beer, and spirits industries are such powerful lobbies. And I'm thinking, have you ever heard of Coca-Cola and Pepsi?
Right. They're huge.
That just can't be the reason. And, I'm not saying that it wasn't a part of the reason, but it can't be the sole reason. And maybe it's anybody who's drinking knows that they're messing with themselves, so they don't care what's in it.
Well, that's not a very... I don't accept that.
I didn't say
reason.
it was acceptable, but I'm saying
that's silliness.
But I don't know the answer. But my point is simply this, right? Like, if what you want is to know what's in your tequila or your mezcal or your bacanora or your raicilla or your vodka or your whiskey or your rum, if you really want to know, are there additives? Your chlorine, if you really want to know, are there additives? change the rules. In fact, I know for a fact when you're bringing, if it's not certified as mezcal or tequila, when you're bringing that spirit into the USA from Mexico, you have to provide the TTB, the Tax and Titillation Bureau. I can't remember what the other T is.
Hilarious. I wish that was the name of it.
Right?
Tax and Titillation.
You have to provide them a recipe. You have to.
You do?
Yeah. That's part of the thing is here's the recipe.
Yeah.
So they already have it.
So funny. But why would it be in the United States interest to add that? I'm sure it costs money.
Because it's on everything else that we consume.
I know, but I don't know. I don't see how it would benefit them.
Who's them?
The FDA. Who's putting it on? The FDA?
Well, it's part of the. Well, actually, it's. I believe the FDA
why would
oversees
they care?
it. Why do they care about it on anything? It's literally it's a health and safety issue. It's a health and safety issue. You don't know what somebody's allergic to, what they're not allergic to.
I mean, 100%. I agree with it. I don't know that.
Can you imagine somebody does a pachuga with peanuts? You eat no peanut allergies. Did I say allergies?
You did say allergies.
We know peanut allergies. So who would benefit? The consuming public.
I mean, for sure. I just am being a little cynical about the government wanting to help us.
Wow.
So, I mean,
they got to do something to earn my tax dollars.
Listen, I'm just trying to take some of the heat off of you, okay, and bring the haters to my side, to the guest seat on the podcast.
Well done, Linda. Well done.
That's my curiosity. I don't disagree. I think that would be a wicked cool idea. To me, it's perfectly in line with what a lot of our Gringex nerdies love, which I have called for many years the library label, right? The Mezcaloteca. I don't know if they were the first, but they were one of the first that I learned about with all that info, right? We want to see how was it crushed? Who made it? How long did it sit? Blah, blah, blah. All these different things. Cool. That makes us, at least the nerders, that makes us way more interested. So now, is it more important? Safety? I would think so, than interest. Yeah. So I don't know why we do it. I just can't see a clear motivation for it to be done if it's not going to stream more revenue into our indebted government.
Well, look, when the SNAP does not provide revenue to the government. There are lots of things the government does that's not about just bringing money in. The government is there to, whether they're successful at it or not, to protect the people. And they won't do it unless they hear from the people that they want it. I don't know of anybody saying, hey, government, I'd really like to have this label. It's on every other thing I consume.
Please keep it a mystery. I don't want to know.
Right?
Yeah,
I don't but that's what I'm doing if I'm part of this additive-free tequila movement. And I'm not, because I think there are more important things. But why not? Why not take that stance that all alcohol should have this on it?
I don't know why not.
I think that's the answer, Linda.
Who should we send this episode to? Our policy changers that we know.
Well,
we have a good idea, and we recorded it on this podcast. Hear us out.
My point isn't, hey, I want to solve this problem, because I don't.
Hey, there is a solution out there. Someone please solve it.
Well, if this is your concern,
right?
If you're one of the people who's raging oh, why are you doing this to Grover and Scarlett? Hey, dudes, here's the solution. Go talk to your local representative. Get them to move it up to the state representative. Get them to move it up to the federal representatives and make this a conversation. All you have to do is make it a law in California. If you made it a law in California, if that state said that that label has to be on alcohol, the same way that California is moving regulations around vehicles,
right?
I guarantee you it's in every state.
Yeah, so much agave spirit goes through there that other people would be silly then not to adopt it if they were the leader. Okay, all right, California, holler at us.
Okay. You got anything else?
I think we have now solved all of the problems.
All of the problems.
All of the problems.
Okay, well, let's get out here and start making some new ones, Linda.
We'll see you next time, Gring X bartenders.
Hasta pronto. You've been listening to Agave Road Trip, the critically acclaimed award-winning podcast that helps Gringex bartenders better understand agave spirits, and rural Mexico. We're blessed with sound engineering by Roy Sierra and a theme song performed by Gabriel Oliveira and Marco Ricos. Sign up to become a road tripper and listen to more episodes at agaveroadtrip.com. If you enjoyed this podcast, please let us know. And if you hated it, well, I'm sure you'll let us know that too. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram at Agave Road Trip. Agave Road Trip is a production of 10 Angry Pit Bulls, Inc. Agave Road Trip is powered by Simplecast. Thank you for listening to Heritage Radio Network. Heritage Radio Network is food radio supported by you. For our freshest content, subscribe to our newsletter. To subscribe to the Heritage Radio newsletter, enter your email at the bottom of our website, heritageradionetwork.org. Connect with Heritage Radio Network on Instagram and Twitter at heritage_radio. You can also find Heritage Radio Network at facebook.com/Heritage Radio Network. Heritage Radio Network is a nonprofit organization using the power of educational storytelling about food to build a more equitable, resilient food system. Heritage Radio Network couldn't do that without support from listeners like you. Become a part of the world's most innovative community today. Subscribe to the shows you like. Tell your friends. And please join the Heritage Radio Network family by becoming a member. To become a member of the Heritage Radio Network, click on the beating heart of our homepage. Heritage Radio Network can become addictive. Programming you hear on Heritage Radio Network might lead you to eat, drink, and listen to more programming on Heritage Radio Network. If you drink, please do not drink and drive. Drink responsibly. Drive responsibly. Eat responsibly too. And listen to Heritage Radio Network responsibly. To listen to Heritage Radio Network responsibly, wear protective earbuds. While wearing protective earbuds, do not drive. Do not walk either. Sit in a comfortable chair. If that comfortable chair has a hard seat, please remember to stretch every 30 minutes. If you stretch every 30 minutes, please stay within your defined stressing capacity. And consult a doctor who specializes in stretching. If you don't have a doctor, maybe Dr. Ryan Acock, the Cocktail MD, can help you out. Thanks for listening. Agave Road Trip out.